Suddenly, Nicole tugged on Rachel's sleeve. "Hey, can you do me a favor and let me take a picture with Flo Lambeau? I'm a big fan of hers." When Lily heard this, her eyes lit up. She wanted to get a photo too. Out of the four of them, Kevin was the least enthusiastic. The concert was beautiful and her singing was lovely, but since he took over Williams Media, Kevin had seen dozens of stars, and he'd stopped caring about autographs a long time ago. "Mr. Nassau, do you think you can help me?" Rachel asked with a smile.
"For you, anything. It would be my pleasure."
After Chuck replied with a laugh, he turned his head and glared at the two security guards.
"What are you two still doing here? Do you want a tip?"
The guards grumbled as they walked away. Just then, Flo finished her set and headed backstage for a wardrobe change.
"Come with me."
Chuck seized the opportunity to catch Flo when she had a free moment. He couldn't believe his luck running into Rachel here. If Chuck could make friends with her, it might help his entire family. Then someday he might climb the ladder in the family company. It would definitely be worth the effort to set up an impromptu meet and greet.
"Hello, Miss Lambeau. I have some friends who would like to take a picture with you. Don't worry, they won't take up too much of your time,"
Chuck said with a smile. "Mr. Nassau, I hope you can understand this, but my visit is a contractual charity performance. There are no provisions to meet with any fans. Please send them away." Flo Lambeau didn't even look at Rachel. Nicole got a sour look on her face and Lily looked very embarrassed.
"It would just be a quick photo,"
Chuck started to explain, but Flo cut him off. "I've made it very clear. Please leave at once and don't delay me. I have to go back on stage." Chuck turned around and smiled apologetically at Rachel and Lily. He hadn't expected Flo to be so uncooperative, but there wasn't anything more he could do. She was a big star and he couldn't force her, could he? Kevin, who hadn't opened his mouth yet, suddenly blurted out, "Is your time really that precious?" Everyone turned around and looked at him. After all, Flo Lambeau was a celebrity. Everybody was interested in setting up a photo with her. "Who are you?" she said impatiently. "If you still want to see the rest of my performance, you should go back and take your seats. If not, I'll have security show you the door." How stuck up can you be? Rachel couldn't believe that Flo was using this kind of tone with Kevin. "Mr. Nassau, please send them away. I don't want to see them again." Flo was in no mood to continue the discussion. Chuck was very depressed by her reaction. He didn't expect that things would turn out like this. On the one hand, she was a famous star, but on the other hand, Rachel was very influential in Chicago. Chuck was caught between a rock and a hard place and had no idea what to do. "I wouldn't be so stuck up if I were you. If my wife and her friends hadn't asked to take some photos with you, we wouldn't even be here. I'd rather be in the mall having a hot dog." Kevin really let her have it. But since Flo didn't know who Kevin was, she didn't really care what he thought. That was about to change. The onlookers were furious to hear Kevin talk to her like that.
"Who is this kid? The way he's dressed, he shouldn't even go out in public."
They were ready to drag Kevin out and throw him into the street. Flo Lambeau was also infuriated by Kevin's insulting tone. "Mr. Nassau, I hope you can give me an explanation for this intrusion." Chuck got a panicked look on his face. He really didn't want to make a bad impression on Rachel. Suddenly someone shouted, "Hey, that's the guy who's been mooching off the Jones family." This really got the crowd going. They all started calling Kevin names and threatening to beat him up. Not that he couldn't have handled them, of course. That's when Chuck suddenly realized that he'd heard that Rachel was friends with Lily, who was a member of the Jones family. He figured that Kevin was just trying to show off because he was one of Rachel's acquaintances. Chuck thought that maybe he could turn this to his advantage and save the situation. Suddenly, Nicole turned around and shouted at the rowdy fans, "What are you all yelling about? You don't know anything about him." As far as Nicole was concerned, even though Kevin didn't have much potential, he'd always been very good to Lily, Dorothy, and her. So Nicole absolutely wouldn't allow anyone to insult Kevin in front of her. Chuck struggled to apologize to Rachel.
"I'm sorry, but this is all my fault." But could you please ask your friends to restrain themselves? After all, this is a public place and Flo is a well-known celebrity. She doesn't have time to talk with any Tom, Dick, or Harry who walks in off the street.
Come on. If she'd just said yes, we would have been done by now. It's taken her longer to argue with us than it would have to snap a quick photo.
Nicole retorted as she took Lily and Kevin by the hand and started to walk away. Even though she was ready to give up, you could see the disappointment in Nicole's eyes. As they were leaving, they could hear Flo grumbling about Kevin's rudeness. Don't be angry, Miss Lambeau. He's not worth getting angry over. Chuck quickly smiled and tried to pacify her.
Kevin immediately stopped in his tracks when he heard that. He turned around and gave Flo a cold stare.
What did you just say? I'd like to hear you repeat that.
Do you really want to hear it again? You're just a nobody and you'll never amount to anything. Now that Flo Lambeau thought she knew something about Kevin, she wasn't worried about his reaction.
Just because you're here with Rachel doesn't mean anything to me. If you mess with me, you'll see what I do to you.
Chuck snarled as he looked over at Kevin. You two are a real class act, Kevin replied to him. If you don't apologize right this second, this concert is over.
You've got some nerve talking to me like that.
Chuck was so angry his lips were quivering and you could see a vein popping out on his forehead.
I'll have security remove you from the property.
Don't you dare! Rachel took a step forward to protect Kevin and the others. I'm the general manager of the property and you'll do no such thing. Rachel was angrier than she'd ever been in her life. The onlookers had no idea who she was and started to whisper to each other. My God, is she really the general manager of the Salix Leaf Hotel? They also knew from all the reports in social media that she was backed by a mysterious but powerful figure. No wonder Kevin had been so snippy with Flo. He knew that he could get away with his behavior because of his friend's ties. The security guard decided to wait and see how it would play out rather than risk taking the wrong side. Chuck was also stunned. He never expected Rachel to speak up for Kevin like that. Now he had to figure out how to apologize to her. Kevin, Rachel, let's get going, Lily said very sensibly.
That's right. We don't want to take any crummy pictures anyway. And I won't be going to any more Flo Lambeau movies either. Someone like her doesn't deserve to be a star.
Nicole was no longer Flo's biggest fan. Kevin was determined to teach Flo a lesson, and with his connections at Williams Media, he could do it. As the saying goes, one bad apple spoils the bunch. Williams Media couldn't risk their reputation with someone like her, and they'd find a new star right away anyhow. I don't deserve to be a star? Who the hell do you think you are? I wouldn't take a picture with you if you got down on your knees and begged me. Flo was so mad she started to huff and puff while she was talking. Well, I guess I'll have to show you who I am. Kevin took out his cell phone and called Miss Wilson at Williams Media.
Please subscribe to the Pocket FM YouTube channel and press the bell icon for instant notification. Check out our channel for more such exciting shows.